copying and pasting from Excel into Word and PowerPoint when you're using a pivot table. Here I'm going to copy my pivot table. So once again, I'm going to start in my top cell, drag down, and I'm going to copy this pivot table. And we can very simply paste this into the likes of Word or into PowerPoint. I already have Word and PowerPoint open, so I'm going to click on Word. And when I go into paste, I can see that there's a couple of different options. Here, when I click the first option, Keep Source Formatting, you can see that the pivot table goes in as a standard table. The drop-down menus or any of the subtotal, collapse or expand options have disappeared, but the data comes in. And there's no link to the Excel sheet. So if any change has been made to the raw data, this table will not update. As I make my way across, I can see here, this option will also do a paste, but it won't bring any of the formatting with it. And then the third option will link to the Excel sheet. So a change in the Excel pivot table, once it's refreshed, would then be updated here in Microsoft Word. However, in Word, it still doesn't have the functionality of the pivot table. I've no drop-down menus to filter here in Microsoft Word. But if changes are made to the pivot table in Excel, then this will refresh or update to show those changes. So I think probably the best two options when you're dealing with pasting into Word is either the straightforward paste and keep the formatting, or the third one, which will keep the formatting and link it to the pivot table in Excel. Let's have a look at doing the same thing but in PowerPoint. So I'm going to open up PowerPoint, and you can see here that I have a plain blank slide, and I'm going to go into my paste options. And the two here that we tend to use is either the first one, which will use the destination style, meaning the style that's in PowerPoint at the moment. So if I were to click on that, I can then go and resize it to show the data in my slide. So I can see there it's literally just gone in as a table in PowerPoint. The other option in PowerPoint to paste is the third one in, which will embed the file. This looks a lot better on screen because it keeps the formatting. And also, if you want to make any changes, you can double click, because embed the file means that you can double click to get into the Excel sheet to work with it while you're still inside of PowerPoint. And you'll see here the drop down menus are still valid for me here in PowerPoint when you embed it. Something to keep an eye on here in the pivots is when you're showing it like this in PowerPoint, so you double click to get into the embedded file. Up at the top here, it's now like Excel in your ribbons, and if you go to options, you can see that you can turn on or off the field list, you can turn on or off the button options and the header options. So by turning both buttons and field headers off, it might just look better when you click out in Excel into PowerPoint, because it doesn't bring in those drop-down menus, which you can't use when you're in PowerPoint anyway. The drop-down menus will only work if you double-click to get into the embedded file. Then you can show back those buttons and field headers. Then the drop-down menus come back into play. So I suppose it depends on what you want to do. If it's just to show the table, just go with the straightforward paste. But if you'd like to be able to change the table while still in PowerPoint, then maybe go with the embed option. And both of those are seen in the drop-down menu for paste. You've got this one, which is the destination style, or the third one, which is the embed option. Closing down PowerPoint, closing down Microsoft Word, I return back to the Excel sheet that was open behind.